Hi, I'm Caitlin Steele, Principal of Middlebury Union High School. Welcome to our Middle Years Program Personal Project Exhibition. This is the capstone project for our 6th through 10th grade program of studies under the International Baccalaureate. We're really happy to have you here to see the phenomenal projects that our students have brought into school to share with us. Have a great time.
Hi, my name is Killian Berry. I made a vertical takeoff and landing 3D printed airplane that is inspired by the Beta Technologies plane.
Hi, my name is Maddox Slater. I turned a file into a knife, and a challenging thing was the wood that the handle is made out of is called lace wood, and it has properties like poison ivy, so it gave me a rash.
I'm Mackenzie. I learned to play guitar on. I learned to play all too well on guitar, and something I found interesting was like learning to play a song that I knew and like being able to play it so I know it. And yeah, I'm gonna play.
Hi, I'm Beatrice Whitmarsh. For my personal project, I sketched a canvas and primed it and then made a painting. This is a self-portrait of me when I'm about 7 years old, and I worked with my mom to create this portrait.
My name is McKenna Whitney. I stripped and built a demo car for next year at Addison County Fair. I did this project because my whole family does it. My dad started like 27 years ago. Something challenging was I did have to change all 4 spark plugs because it wouldn't start up. I had to take out the windows, the carpet, the back seat, stuff like that. And next year I'll be putting in a battery box passenger side. But yeah.
Hi, I'm Leah Warner, and I did paper quilling as my project. And so I have these like little pieces of paper, and I'll show you how to do it. So you take a piece of this paper and this tool, and you basically do little coils of it. You just roll it up. I'll do a short one.
So for investing, I learned about it and I wrote about this.
So you coil it up, and then you can shape it to however you want. How much money did you make? Like this, and then you can glue it and make it into any shape that you want. And it was a really like long process to make all of them, but these are the results of them. Yeah.
I'm Max Breckenridge. I did personal finance. And basically what I did is I took the 5 areas of personal finance. So investing, income, spending, saving, and protection. And basically I kind of did a mini project in between each of those. So for investing, I have a graph here for it, but I did a mock investment where I started with $100,000 and I invested into about 20 stocks. Overall, I did lose money, but it was still a good learning experience, and also the program I was using kind of broke when I was using it. But for income, I did how to read a pay slip, and basically it goes over what the main aspects and key points are when you're reading a pay slip, and where to see where the money's coming from, which deductions come out based off taxes or employer pulling out money. Spending, I did a budget for basically I chose a random state and a random job. So I chose Colorado and a lawyer. So I chose a place in Colorado called Breckenridge because, it's my last name, so I thought it would be funny. And basically, I took the average amount that a lawyer living in Breckenridge, Colorado would make, minus the basic cost of living. And so basically, I took out the median rent, food expenses, transportation costs, healthcare, and average cost of electricity. And it turns out a lawyer living in Breckenridge, Colorado only makes about half of their actual income because that's just the cost of living. For saving, I wrote about the different ways to save, like investments, savings accounts, budgeting, tracking your spending, high-yield savings accounts like money market accounts, and I basically said what I have, and basically, since I'm kind of young right now to do a lot of things, I kind of just have it in savings accounts, which makes smaller interest over time, but they're still a good way to hold your money. And then finally, I did protection, which I talked about the different types of protection, like a savings account, which has a lower annual yield for your interest, or dividends, gives out smaller dividends based off the money that you have. Money market accounts, which have higher interest rates, although it is harder to withdraw money from them, and you have to put in more money when you want to make a deposit. I did certificates of deposit, which are they're a little bit harder to talk about because they're kind of like loans to a bank that a customer has, and they will get money from a bank, or they'll give money to a bank, and that kind of raises in price, and they get interest on it, and then they can pull it out for more money than they gave in, depending on how long you wait for it. I did bonds, which are also slightly talked about over there, but bonds are basically types of things. They're types of ways to hold money through the state or the government, and they're basically like IOUs. So you can pay for a bond, and over time, over the course of 5, 10, or 15 or 30 years, they will double in their value. But in shorter periods of time, their interest rates are smaller, which means if you have it for longer, it's generally better if you're willing to hold it for a longer period of time because you'll make more money. And finally, I did physical objects like gold, jewelry, anything tangible that you can hold on to, which is kind of just like an emergency thing. So if you just happen to go into financial struggle, you can sell off gold or jewelry, which will help to make money because the prices of those don't really rise or drop that much. And it's just a good way to keep money if you're not looking to put it in a savings account. And I have my works cited for the sources I use to learn about it, and that's basically my project.
My name's Gage Preventure, and this is my 500cc mini sprint. I race at Devil's Bowl, and something that was pretty cool is we won track champion again 2 times in a row. So now we're moving up to a modified and saying goodbye to this.
Hi, I'm Elle McIntyre, and my project is improving my public speaking. Through my project, I wanted to get as comfortable as I could through any situation and be as professional as I could. So if you hear me on the morning announcements, I speak every day. I read my announcements. I announced some basketball games. I announced the championship unifying game last year, which is super awesome. With public speaking, I've got to make so many awesome connections, and public speaking is a skill you can take on for life, so I'm really happy with this newfound skill and improvement, and I've just had a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Henry Kervick. For my personal project, I taught a fiddle tune called the Swallowtail Jig to a group of students after school at the Middlebury Community Music Center on Fridays. We had 4 rehearsals, and then we had a concert. And something that was pretty challenging was I had an alternating group of students each time, so I had to assign groups pretty close to the ends, so we couldn't really work out an arrangement, but it was really fun.
I'm Oliver Wetzel, and I did improving my soccer skills. I wanted to make sure that I improved in 3 main areas. I kind of knew before going into the project what I wanted to improve in. I wanted to improve my free kicks, my penalties, and my one-touch finishing, which are all really big parts of the game. And so I guess this is kind of how I met and didn't meet my criteria. I wasn't able to practice consistently. This is my biggest regret about the project. And that was because I was in the midst of a high school soccer season while also doing this project. So it meant that I was playing soccer 7 days a week. And so I didn't actually get this started until way 2 weeks before the project was due. So I had trouble starting it earlier. But the way I wanted to make sure I was improving is I wanted to, I got in contact with a college student. I got on the phone with him and interviewed him and asked him basically how I could improve in those 3 areas and what he thought the best ways for me to improve this problem. And so basically for free kicks, he told me I needed to do a 45-degree angle run up and make sure that I'm not trying to hit the ball too hard and focus on taking deep breaths and kind of envisioning where I want the ball to go. And then for penalties, he had me, he said that he stressed the importance of doing a full routine before a penalty like you would in a game. That gives you the most accurate, depiction of what a penalty was. And then he also had me, for one-touch finishes, he said being game realistic, so I play right wing, and I would, every cross that I did, I came in at the back post and tried to hit it from there because that's more realistic to what I've done. So my third criteria was keeping the quality high. And so I basically just made sure that every single shot I took, even if it went in and it wasn't a great shot, I wouldn't count it because that wouldn't go into the game. So I was trying to make it I was trying to make sure that there was a genuine increase in my skill and it wasn't just me counting one just because I wanted to for the project. And then I would say I did improve my accuracy in soccer overall. For free kicks, I went from scoring about 1 in 6 to scoring 1 in every 2.5. So that was a big increase. I went from scoring 8 out of 10 penalties to scoring 9 out of 10, which can make a big difference in games. And then I went from scoring 1 out of 6 one-touch finishes to scoring 1 out of 4, which is what I'm personally most proud of, because that's what I had to practice with. And then was I successful overall? Yes, I believe I was. I think that even though I didn't do what I wanted for parts of it, and there was obviously the setback with the soccer season, I still think that I had a very large improvement, and I'm feeling it in my soccer, in my games now. So that's helped me out, and yeah, that's my problem.
Hi, my name is Daniela. I searched about the history of the quinceañera since I just got mine. I searched about it, the tradition, where it came from, and I learned about it. It came from the Aztec and Mayans, and they mixed their cultures with the Spanish after they came in. And yeah, I learned a lot about it. It's the best thing ever. It's my culture, and I love it so much. Thank you.
It's a gorgeous picture.
It's Alden Sherry. I built a droid for my project. I 3D printed it and used an Arduino and ESP32 as the brain and controller. I built it in the STEM room at the Career Center. Last night, right before the project, the battery failed, so it isn't currently driving. But next week, I'm going to be fixing it so it's fully functional.
My name's Kira Sell, and I wrote, directed, and edited a short film. It's horror, and it's under 2 minutes. Oh, do you want me to play it?
Sure.
Okay. It's 2 minutes, but...
The battery stopped working.
Hello, my name is Orion Foss. For my personal project, I wrote a bluegrass song. I chose to write a bluegrass song because it's good practice for guitar since it's one of the hardest guitar genres to learn. Pretty much what bluegrass is a mixture of blues and country. So for the chords, I chose E7, A7, B7, A7, G7, which sounds like,
especially because
which is, you know, like pretty bluesy.
sometimes it can be
For the topic I chose for my song, I chose finding a river of gold to, you know, get yourself some money and get you back on your feet. Pretty outdoorsy, like all bluegrass songs. I had a lot of fun writing the song, especially because I wrote a cool intro to the song.
It's almost like an online database, like an online bank, and you can draw money from how much Bitcoin you have. I think one Bitcoin is extremely expensive. I think one Bitcoin is about $16,000. Yeah. So that's why people have like 100,000. But they can just still withdraw their money.
That's the intro to the song. I had a lot of fun writing that. I think it's pretty cool. I have found myself getting better playing along with this bluegrass song I've written because the chord progressions are pretty difficult to follow. It helps me with my scales. I learned a lot of bluegrass runs. I'm in 2 bands, and I feel like this really helps with my playing and performance. If you'd like, I could start from the lyrics and go on from there.
I'm Jorgen Perung, and for my personal project, I did the VTXL bike ride, which is a bike ride from the Canadian border down to the Massachusetts border on mostly dirt roads. I did it to raise money for cancer research for UVM because my brother got cancer, and it was something that I wanted to help him do. A challenge in my project was that there was a lot of climbing in it, and so I had to work really hard on the 4 days I was biking.
Hi, I'm Maggie Hoyler, and my personal project was making gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. My dad is gluten-free, so I wanted to make a cookie for him that was better than other gluten-free cookies. I took a recipe that I had been using for a while and used information from this cookbook, How Can It Be Gluten-Free by America's Test Kitchen, to adapt the recipe and make it better. One fun thing that I had during this project was just playing around with the different ingredients for the cookie. And
My name is Ani Brederson. I did my soccer flip throw by increasing the distance. My starting distance was 45 feet, so I tried to increase it, and I increased it to 66 feet and 9 inches. It was very fun to improve it, but a challenging part was the weather because I couldn't do it whenever it rained, which it tended to do a lot this fall.
I'm Paris, and for my personal project, I learned jazz theory on the French horn, and it was basically just knowing a lot of music and learning a bunch of songs to improve improv skills. And then something that went well was learning the songs at first because it was just easy.
Hi, I'm Meredith, and I upcycled clothes and fabrics. So I took a lot of secondhand clothes and leftover fabrics from family, projects that my family had done, and I gave them a new purpose. Like for these, I took 2 pairs of pants and combined them to for something new. And then all these patches are made out of leftover fabric scraps, and yeah, it was a really great way to repurpose fabrics. And one thing that I learned was how time-consuming and technical a lot of it is, but it's also really simple to refurbish things and make them something you can use again.
I'm Nova, and I learned how to set up a habitat for my betta fish. And it pretty much just consisted of learning different water parameters that they need and how to keep the pH low enough for them. And
I learned that to have a fish that you need to have zero ammonia and zero nitrates because they're both toxic to fish. And I have all live plants, and I had to learn how to keep them alive and like how to fertilize them. And yeah.
I'm Mary Landwehr, and I'm writing, directing, and filming my own original short film. It's taken a long process. I started writing it last year, and we just started filming it this year, and it's probably going to be done in the next couple months, hopefully. But yeah, it's taken a lot of learning and fixing my mistakes and learning from those mistakes to learn the just general process of making a film for the first time.
Hi, my name is Gwen Beaujon. I'm a 10th grader at Middlebury Union High School, and I made a knitted blanket. It color coordinates from white to pink, and I made it for my dog because she needs a blanket for winter, and it took me about 70 hours, so yeah.
I'm Taylin. I did my project on the game Baldur's Gate 3. I played it on honor mode, which means if I die, I have to restart the game. This is the team that I used of 3 characters, and down here I have all the custom characters that I made. Overall, it took me 3 attempts.
I'm Carly Delabriere, and my goal for this project was to make 30 art pieces in the amount of time that we were given for the personal project. And it sounded easy, but I definitely bit off more than I can chew. I had a very hard time completing 30 pieces, but I am happy with the 11 that came out. I have 3 paintings, this one, and this one. The rest I made digitally through the program I use, which is Procreate, and you can draw on it. A lot of them take a long time, but it was very rewarding to come out with a solid piece. These 3 are all character designs for characters that I made. It definitely felt good to flex my character design muscles, and it's very rewarding to have the character at the end. And then these 2 are digital paintings, and these 2 are just little chibis that I made. I'm very happy with the outcome, and it took a long time, but very rewarding process.
Hi, my name's Enzo Blake, and my project was learning how to play the harmonica. I'm not a very musical talented person, and so this project was really fun for me to try and like somehow connect with the music that I really love. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It took up like my entire Sunday.
Yeah, I can play. I can play a few lines from the song that I learned how to play. It's just any song from John Denver.
Okay, I'm Edie Raz, and my project is gravitational lensing. I researched gravitational lensing and how science can use it to see objects that we wouldn't normally be able to, and basically like how the light is bent and like the different ways that light can be bent and how the like gravity like affects the objects. And it's a really interesting topic that I really like because space has been really important to me for like a lot of my life, and if I can, I want it to go into space studies. So yeah.
All right. So this is my project. I made the same short film in 3 different styles. My family and I made this with real time, and then I used real-time animation and put it into this animation software where I rotoscoped everything and drew over everything. Only a couple shots though that would have taken a very long time to do. So I only chose a couple of my favorite shots. Then I remade the whole film with Source Filmmaker, an entirely different animation software. So this arguably took the most time since I had to look up a lot of tutorials, find a lot of things that made it a lot easier to get this all done.
Hi, I'm Bella Diek, and I made 2 different types of dog treats. I made peanut butter and banana, and apple and cinnamon.
And then something really fun about it was probably just experimenting on different flavors and like kind of deciding on what I wanted to use to like thicken the batter up a little bit.
Hi, I'm Thea Porter. And I'm Abrina Ho. We both learned how to do nails for our project. So some of the things we have here, we brought in like the dipping powder and the tools we used, then some examples and some polishes.
Yeah, these are like gel and these are like normal nail polish.
And we also did each other's nails for practice. Yeah. And then I volunteered at Eastview for part of my project, which is an elderly home, and did people's nails in the memory care unit, which was super fun. And then we also did some of our friends' nails.
Yeah, and I also helped my mom at the nail salon. She owns a nail salon in town, so.
Hi, my name is Mira Biancasino, and I learned music theory by learning a bunch of different jazz standards on piano. So I learned like how chords are composed, how to like read the chords correctly, and like a bunch of different structures of jazz songs. And something that was fun was I would like learn how to do one song and I would learn like the chord changes for it, and then I would have jazz band the next morning and be able to like decipher the chords because I knew how to do it, and that made like soloing in jazz band a lot more fun.
Lambert. I recreated 5 of my great-grandmother's recipes that I used to make with her when I was a little kid. I made chocolate chip cookies, chocolate chip muffins, whoopie pies, donut holes, and apple crisp. It took a very long time, and it was a struggle to figure out when to make everything, so it's still good for the presentation. It was really fun though to make that connection with my family, and the writing part it brought back memories of when I used to have her with me.
Hi, I'm Fiona Harrington. This is my personal project. I chose to use oil paints and watercolor. I've never used either of these mediums before. I've only used acrylics in the past, so I thought it would be really fun and interesting to try to work with them. For this one, I followed a Bob Rouse tutorial to help guide me through everything, and then these were just some pictures that I found online. This is actually a picture of my cat, one of my cats, who added these small details in the bottom. Yeah, I really enjoyed using the oil-based paints because they gave me so much texture, and it was really easy to control them overall. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, I'm Leah Williams, and for what I did for my personal project was character development. So through writing, a lot of people may have like characters of their own, but they'll forget about them after a while due to not fully developing their like personalities and backstories and the flaws and pluses to what they do. So what I did is I looked up different ways to explore the backside of your character's personality and how to flesh them out better compared to just writing them down like this is what they did and this is their backstory and this is what they look like.
I'm Fiona Mackey, and my project was cyanotype printing, which is a type of printing that uses UV light to show the shapes. And something that was fun about my project was cutting out the shapes to create these designs.
I'm Wendy Baker. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Addison Central, and it has been a wonderful personal exhibition project day here at MUHS. I've personally learned from our students about rebuilding a three-wheeler from original parts, like total engine repair, to foreshortening in a portrait project and all kinds of other amazing things. So thank you for coming and being here and being such a vibrant part of our students' lives. It's been a great day of learning.